Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video, another one, sorry, must apologise. Anyway, today we're going to look at inter-VLAN routing. In the previous video we set up two VLANs, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, I think it was sales and accounts. But PC3 cannot ping PC2. So why is that? Well, there's no route. And there's no route because a layer 2 switch can't route. So yeah. So what we need to do is we need to give this guy up here a job. We need a router, and one of the things we also need to do is change the gateway address. As you can see, it's not set. If we just hover over these guys, the interface IP address, which I'll go into now, of router 0. But first of all, we need to connect router 0 to switch 0. So I'm going to use a copper straight through. You may get told to use crossovers or whatever, but we're going to use a standard copper straight through, and I'm going to plug it into Giga Ethernet 1, and to keep things easy we're going to use Giga Ethernet 1 on the switch. Now what we need to do with the switch to the router is, if we just go into the admin PC desktop terminal, okay, what we need to do with this guy is just do a en. I'm just going to do a show VLAN because I'm a little bit, I don't know, it did say fine, and I'm just going to do a write memory because I didn't do that before. Anyway, so we're going to go into conft. I'm going to go into interface Gigabit Ethernet 0/1. I forgot myself there. And I'm going to change the switch port mode. So I'm just going to do switch port mode trunk. Now what that does is it will trunk out all the VLANs we've got out of that port and into the router. And then what I'm going to do now is switch port trunk allowed VLAN all. I'll go into trunking if you want me to later on, because there are options available where you can add VLANs, you can remove, or you can use accept, but we're going to use all for now because we want 10 and 20 to be trunked into the router. And that's pretty much all we need to do on the layer 2 switch. Now if you're using a layer 3 switch, hold the phone, I will do layer 3 routing and inter-VLAN routing in another episode, but for a layer 2 switch, I can't stress this enough, that is how you do it. And I don't want to actually confuse anyone, so I'll leave that there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy to the console port of the router, and then we're going to go into interface 01. So I'm going to type in enable mode and then configuration mode. And then I'm going to type in int gi 0/1. Now, here's the thing. The only command you really want to type into this, if nothing else, if you don't want to give it a description or anything, is no shut. Okay? Because when you create your sub interfaces, which is what we're going to do now, is if you haven't enabled the root interface, the interfaces won't work. And you could be scratching your head for some time. So the way I do it is I always go into the root interface first before I create any sub interfaces, and I do that no shut. Can't stress it. Okay, now that line is now up. We can now create our sub interfaces. What is a sub interface? Well, what we're doing is we're trunking out from our switch here to the router itself. So we need to create a sub interface on interface 01 so that we can accept the incoming traffic from VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. So the way we do that is interface gi 0/1.10. And as you can see now, the line is now up. The second thing we're going to want to do, if I just do question mark, there is a command there called encapsulation. So we're going to type in encapsulation, and if I do a question mark, we got .1q. If I do another question mark, it's going to ask for the VLAN ID. Now I'm going to do VLAN 10 or just 10. Now what that's doing is because the traffic coming in from VLAN 10 is going to be tagged as VLAN 10 through the encapsulation, it's going to listen out for that and go, hey, yes, I'm over here, right? So the next step is we need to give this interface an IP address. And I'm going to give it 192.168.10.254. And we're on a 24-bit net, so I'm going to give it a 255.255.255.0. And we can give it a description. And it is the sales router. Okay, and that's pretty much all you need to do. Okay, done. Happy days, happy days. Now what I need to do is on PC 0, 1 and 2 is change the gateway address to that interface that we have just created. So I'm just doing 192.168.10.254. I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to close that. I'm going to go into PC 1 and do exactly the same thing. There we go. PC 2. Ooh. Boom, done. Okay, now what I should be able to do is from here is ping that interface. There we go, we're done. So routers, the router can talk to PC2, PC1 and PC0. So that's worked. So that means that the traffic is being encapsulated as it goes into the router, and the router knows where these machines are, which is absolutely fantastic. Now what I'm going to do quickly, I'm going to change these IP addresses while I'm here, but I'm just going to do 20. I think you know where I'm going with this. And now what I need to do is create the interface. Oh, wrong thing. Go back into PC. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in interface GI 0/1.20, and again we're going to encapsulate encapsulation .1q 20, and then I'm going to give this bad boy an IP address 192.168.20.254, and again space 255.255.255.0, and then a description accounts router. Exit out of there. Now you can type in IP routing just to give it instructions to route, and if I show, sorry, what I do show IP route, as you can see we've got the two connected. So if we look under C, it's connected, and then L, capital L, wherever you are, can't see it, it's local. There we go, it's up right at the top there. So as you can see, network.10 can see network.20, and it is variably subnetted, 2 subnets and 2 masks. And this means that the router can see traffic from these two and also route between the two networks. So I'm just going to close this, and then I'm just going to PC4 to route as 0. As you can see, that has now worked. PC4 should now be able to ping PC3, which it does, and what is more cool is PC2 can now ping PC4, and the reason is that it goes from PC2 into the switch, down the trunk line into the router then goes, hey, 192.168.20.1, or rather 20.2 is over there. So it uses the gateway address of 192.168.20.254 to route down to 192.168.20.2. And that, folks, is a very, very, very quick explanation to how to do inter-VLAN routing in Packet Tracer. As always, if you found this video useful or interesting or boring, please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and then you'll know when I release my latest stuff. Thanks for watching now. Stay safe. Goodbye.